Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back. I am Mary, and I'm joined today by Andrea and Jan. It's been, almost a year? And we've had this discussion how many times how to pronounce Andrea. But we got it.
Everyone's got the same problem. It's fine. I'll take either way.
Either way. Well, there's
Don't
several,
call
right?
me late for dinner, right?
That's right.
So we're excited to be here. We just had a busy weekend with the festival, Downtown Street Fair. There's a marathon. There was all kinds of things going on. But we are going to get started today. We have several things to talk about. We're going to meet the Hall Sisters. It's a music band from down south. We're going to talk about the FDA regarding the coronavirus vaccine mandates that they're kind of backtracking on. And then we're going to visit with Jamie Sorensen right here in the studio. So we have a jam-packed day. She's going to talk about the Constitution study that she's going to be presenting. But first, let's just hop right to the Hall Sisters. Hi, welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, it's great to see you. Your manager reached out to us. They had seen our show and thought that this was someplace that you guys would like to start sharing your story. Why don't you give us a little background about yourselves?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're so happy to be here.
Yes, you are.
Well, we have been performing as a group since we started singing together in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
We went to a music camp that was run by the Annie Moses Band, and they needed 4 girls to sing an a cappella song for the final performance and asked if we would do that. And so we did. and they were like, y'all need to look into singing together. And we were like, okay. so we did, but very nonchalantly just kind of started taking voice lessons. But the Lord really kind of started impressing on our hearts that we needed to take this more seriously. And we've been singing together professionally since 2014.
Yep.
So you have a few albums under your belt then?
We do, yes, ma'am. We we got our first 2 albums came out in 2013.
Yep.
And then, we released a Christmas album in 2015.
Yep.
Our first full-length CD came out in 2016 of some of our favorite 1940s and 50s songs. And then this past April, we came out with our newest album called Here and the Other Side. And we're actually working on releasing a new one, too.
Yep.
So, been very busy.
Wow. So if you were to describe your music, how would you describe it?
That's a great question.
Yes,
We have often tried to figure out how best to describe it. We finally have worked ourselves into a little niche. It's technically country pop.
Mm-hmm.
We all play different instruments, strings and piano, that sort of thing. But we also grew up with an appreciation and a love from the music from the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we always love throwing in like 4-part harmony. So it's kind of like an eclectic mix. Yeah, a melting pot of sound, but it's basically country pop.
Right.
I was listening to a lot of your tunes last night, and of course it was kind of a memory trigger for me because I hit that Charlie Chaplin song, Smile, and I had to do it for my dad's funeral. And so I listened to you guys and how you just nailed the harmonies on that. And, it was just a wonderful release.
Oh, well, thank you. That
so
means a
sweet.
lot.
Thank you.
I do have a question, though. I know Jessica is the only one that doesn't seem to play a string instrument other than mandolin. And I'm wondering, was mandolin something that you chose, or was it something that the group kind of needed?
Well, it's actually kind of funny. So I wanted to play violin. I really wanted to play, but I am really bad at it. Terrible. Like it was. I went a year, and afterwards they were like, "Okay, you really need to stop." So it was not the fit for me. So actually, in 2012, I felt so left out because they were starting to play together, and I was like, "Well, I don't know what to do on these fiddle tunes." With a piano, I don't know what to do with it. So I was like, I'm gonna start the mandolin so I can feel involved. So that's kind of how that happened.
So then the violin studio said, here, you don't really take your money back.
Oh, no.
Oh, really, honey, you can have a refund.
Exactly.
So have you ever reached out into any of the Celtic tunes? I mean, you have all of the components there.
Yes.
You want to? We actually do a couple of
Yeah.
of Celtic fiddle tunes in our show. There's like an eighth of us,
Oh, yeah.
and literally an eighth of us that's Irish. We credit our love of Celtic
Yes.
fiddle tunes to that.
Right on.
So-
Great.
So I know that you ladies, you've been together, your sisters, and but you had one of you had some health issues, and so why don't we talk about that and talk about the strength that you got from that?
Well, I think so. I was the one who struggled with anorexia back in 2015, but it started when we moved to Nashville to pursue our musical career, and so it all started in 2012,
Same
really, and it kind of all went together. And so the anorexia, when I struggled from that, it about tore our family apart because just how dark anorexia was. It about killed me. And then, yeah, it was a really dark time for our family. But, coming out of that, I mean, they forgave all this scar. Like, I had to go to a treatment center eventually in 2015. But coming home from that and them still sticking by me, forgiving me for all the scars I had created in them, it's like they never gave up on me. And we're like so much closer
Yes.
now as sisters than we ever have been because of that.
So do you think you went to Nashville and you thought you had to fit this certain image? Is that where it came from, or what do you think started it?
Partly was from that. Some of the things were said during that time, but having to leave home for me, I'm a homebody, and I love my dad, and having to leave him behind here at North Carolina because he had to practice and do his dentistry and that kind of thing. But I'm having to leave him behind was so hard, and so that pain, I felt like my life was out of control, and it was hard for all of us. We all dealt with it in our own different ways. She struggled with depression, others struggled with others anxiety, other things, and so having to deal with that was, you go to something when your life starts feeling out of control. And so for me, I went to food, and that's how it kind of began.
So we had that same issue in our family. I had a sister that struggled with it as well. So I know that it's not just happening to one person. It
Yes.
happens to the entire family.
Yeah,
And there's
absolutely.
a healing that not only takes place for the person that is going through it, but the whole family needs to be, they need to be there for one another. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys have that all in order. If I understood it right, you actually wrote a book about your experiences so that you could help others. Can you tell our viewers what the name of it is or where they can find it?
Absolutely, yes. The name of my book is Nothing to Lose But Everything to Gain. Because of later in life, I struggled with bulimia. And so it was both in kind of a eating disorder deal. And so anyways, you can check out my book on thehallsisters.com under store. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you can check it out there.
Awesome.
Great. We're going to take a quick break, but I just want to tell our viewers, if you want to check them out, you have about 3 minutes to go ahead and look them up and hear some of their music, because we're going to have to take a break, and we're going to come right back after this with more from the Hall Sisters. We'll be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck. Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are visiting with the Hall Sisters. They are a musical group from North Carolina, and they've been together for years, I guess, 2015. But of course they grew up together. But before we go any further, I didn't properly introduce all of you. When I say your name, just raise your hand so that our viewers know who you are. So Jessica is up front. You're kind of the lead. And then we have Natalie. And then we have Lydia in the back row, and then Val. So welcome back to the show, ladies. Before we took the break, we were just talking a little bit about the anorexia, and your manager, when she had reached out to the program, she had described it as, you guys are basically beauty from the ashes. Why don't you tell our viewers what that means?
I think, excuse me, I think what has been so interesting is that when she was anorexic and going through these struggles, it impacted the four of us so much, because we are very close siblings to begin with. I mean, we've been homeschooled, we've done everything together, and when she became so inward and just so under attack all the time. And I mean, it tore our family apart. And it was so hard to watch someone going through that and knowing that you're helpless. And it's like, we can't fix this. We don't know how to, only the Lord can solve this problem. And, we know just because, our calling is to do music, our calling is to go forth and bring, joy to people, bring hope, hopefully. We want to share, joy with our music, but it's not impactful if the four of us aren't unified behind the scenes. The real power is the Lord bringing the four of us together, and Satan did not want that. So he did everything to just try to destroy our relationship with each other. And so, by God's grace, he just allowed her to finally get the help she needed. It took a long time, and it was really rough years to come after even the treatment of us learning how to forgive and how to work with each other again. But you see, on this side of things, we can look back and say, wow, we're so thankful for that. One, because of our relationship with the Lord has changed so much, but two, our relationship with each other is genuinely so strong now. It's unbreakable, and we're just very, very thankful for that. So what you see on stage is us getting along and having fun with each other, and it's genuine. It's what you see on stage is what we are off stage, which is only from the Lord.
And that's what every parent's dream is, to have their kids get along like that and be able to work together. Because we know, I mean, a group of four women, there's no way you're going to get along all the time. It just is impossible. And it's just nice that you understand each other's personalities and the highs and the lows. But it kind of reminds me of that Max Lucado, The Man with the White Horse. You don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. And so you would think that it is such a huge curse, but in hindsight, it may have been a blessing because it brought you guys together even closer to get stronger.
Yes, exactly. Yes, definitely.
All right. So then, besides treatment, then what else did you have to go through then, just for everyone to go ahead and get that forgiveness? Like, do you have some advice for some of our viewers?
Yeah. What's the question?
Well, I got it.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think for me, with trying to deal with getting over the scars and the hurt caused, I think sometimes there will be things it takes a long time to heal from. But I think if you're willing, so I'm not one that likes to talk about my feelings. Like, I very much keep everything to myself until it explodes. It's not a good thing. So I think when she was in treatment center, they had her call us sometimes, and we would have to talk and have these kind of painful conversations of, just being completely honest with each other about the hurt that's been caused. And I think, and ever since then, we have been so much more open with each other in the sense that all four of us, it's like we keep this open communication of, okay, listen, you're stepping out here, you're getting on my nerves, or why are we really butting heads this week? Just in being willing to forgive, being willing to listen, being to accept if you're in the wrong. Exactly, just communicating and
keeping it all out there.
Holding each other accountable.
So I think therein lies the blessing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Sometimes there are large families that have a situation such as yours, and it's not 100% agreement that this is a forgive and forget and move on thing. So the fact that the four of you are all on the same page is probably less normal, if we can use that word. I really hate to, but it's probably a whole lot less normal than what happens anywhere. Even in my own family, we had more siblings than what you had, and it was, first the understanding has to come that it was never anything done to you, that it was probably done for you, and that in order to get, and you don't necessarily get past it, but you get through it. And I think once that realization comes, it's helpful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
All right. And so then, ladies, why don't you tell us a little more about your music then? What inspires you to write new songs?
Ooh.
That's them. They're the writers. Well, honestly, I draw a lot from life situations.
that's mainly how I get most of my inspiration. So it's normally at night, and I like to sit and either watch a moon come and rise up because we had this great spot in our house where you can watch a moon rise. And that is normally where I'll sit there and I'll not have anything on. I'll just watch and listen to things going on. And whatever is in my mind, I'll just start to write it down. And it's not necessarily maybe songs right away. It's more just feelings that then I can turn into songs whenever inspiration hits. If I'm like playing on the guitar, something like that, and I just hear a melody come in, I'll just pin it down. So that's normally how I draw mine. I don't know about Natalie.
From, like you said, life situations, I mean, going through the whole eating disorders, there's so much you pent up and there's so much in your mind. It's such a battle for the mind. And so for me, being able to write out those thoughts and those feelings and try to put it in concepts for songs is kind of where I get mine. So
Interesting.
Well, I was just going to ask Lydia, on your bios, it said that you were into photography and you had another art. What art form would that be other than music?
I draw. I like to draw a lot. So nature is something I'm very drawn to. So photography and drawing, I usually pull from all nature things like that and then draw.
That's very well too.
Thank you.
And do you share those publicly?
I do, yes. I have an Instagram page for it, and on my Facebook page you can find a lot of my work.
And at our concerts.
And at our concerts.
Oh, sweet.
So we don't have a lot of time left, but tell us, do you have anything booked in the near future, any place around the country?
Well, things are still kind of slowly opening back up, so we're hoping to get some more. But we are going to be, we're going to be at Dollywood actually on October 25th, which is a Monday, and we'll be performing 4 times at the Show Street Theater.
Oh, that looks like a lot of fun. That was the one place I always wanted to take the kids, was Dollywood.
I have not yet been, but that's on my bucket list.
It's a lot of fun.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right. And if people wanted to see your work and reach out to you, how can they do that?
They can either go to our website, thehallsisters.com. There's an email subscribe on there, or just to contact. You can also get in touch with us on our Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, just look up the Hall Sisters.
We'll be on there.
Be there.
All right. Well, we really want to, thank you guys for sharing your story. We know it's never, it's never easy to talk about that, but we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.